Hello, I'm Bryon Wilfert, Member of Parliament for Richmond Hill, and this is Parsargad. I'd like to bring you up to date with a few issues, starting with the current situation in Iran. As far as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is concerned, I have written the Minister of Foreign Affairs asking and supporting the listing of them as a terrorist organization. What this means, of course, is that any activities, the transfer of money, any deposits in this country would in fact be frozen, that they have to be listed under the United Nations in terms of their activities. They clearly are a terrorist organization for the activities that we've seen domestically over the years, and obviously their extension of their activities as far as being abroad in places such as France, Germany, and even Canada. We obviously have to be concerned that any activities by the Iranian government which go outside of their boundaries obviously is a problem. And one of those problems is the Center for Iranian Studies, which was established in Toronto. This center seems to be in fact a front for the Islamic Republic of Iran government. The ex-cultural attaché for Iran, in fact, was very much instrumental in the establishment of this organization. They claim to be giving language lessons. They claim to be doing cultural work. But again, we as Canadians have to be concerned when these kind of front organizations are established. And again, the government needs to clamp down. Both the federal government and the provincial government need to really look at this type of situation and make sure that, in fact, people are not duped into supporting such an organization. I would also point out to you that in Parliament, we are dealing with a current situation of the Afghan detainee documents. This is a situation where Parliament has now been declared supreme by the Speaker of the House. The government, of course, had wanted to withhold documents which they said were for national security. No one is asking for national security documents. We're wanting to find out whether or not people were transferred to the Afghan police and authorities where they in fact would be tortured. Under the Geneva Convention on the Articles of War, we cannot knowingly turn people over to the NDS, which is the Afghan authorities. The government, if they have covered anything up, would obviously be liable. So we're not interested in operations. We're not interested in what our allies are doing if they're in the documents. We want to simply see anything which might refer to torture or to cover-up. Currently, there are negotiations going on after the Speaker's ruling, which clearly said that the government must turn these over. We must find a mechanism. So the negotiations that are going on would either allow some members of Parliament, myself as the Vice Chair of the Special Standing Committee on Afghanistan, to look at these documents. As a member of the Privy Council, I already have security clearance, but there are others on the committee who do not. It would have to either become a Privy Councillor or probably under the Canada Secrets Act be given that authority. That simply means is that we would look at them, but we're not allowed to say how we got to whatever conclusion we may come to. And this is important because, again, in a democracy, it is Parliament that must be supreme, not the government. If the government is supreme, then they basically can do whatever they want. Another issue of concern, I know to many of you, is the issue of ethics. And again, we've heard a lot about former Minister Halina Gerges and her husband, Rahim Jaffer. And again, that issue is simply about the Prime Minister not only dismissed her from Cabinet, but he dropped her from the caucus, from the Conservative caucus. Again, very unusual. This hasn't happened since Brian Mulroney. And the fact that, again, if someone is lobbying ministers or government officials and is not registered as a lobbyist under the Lobby Registration Act, this, of course, is illegal. And now we've heard that at least 4 ministers have, in fact, been approached by Mr. Jaffer. I can't pronounce guilt or innocent, but I can say that this is obviously an issue that is evolving. And the fact that the Prime Minister brought in the RCMP is very troubling. What are these allegations? We just need to know the broad parameters as members of Parliament. But if these, in fact, something illegal has gone on, I think Canadians have a right to know what are the parameters in this case. And again, finally, I would like to point out to you that as we move forward In this session of Parliament, we are continuing to deal with issues surrounding the budget. We're dealing with issues surrounding infrastructure, and the Auditor General will be doing a very exhaustive report on infrastructure spending. And obviously the key is, did Canadians get value for dollar? That is something with the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent. We need to know that. And the government was wrapped on the knuckles by the Ethics Commissioner just the other day when it came to light that in fact they were using advertising in a way which was crossing the line between government advertising and party advertising, which clearly is wrong. So again, I thank you for viewing, and we'll see you again. Thank you.